Hey guys, it's Mitch back with you this morning, doing my part to help you seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness. What's your disposition? That's my question for you this morning, my title. So, our quote this morning by Oswald Chambers is a thought provoking one. I hope you've had a chance to read that already, but if not, here it is. Oswald Chambers says, if I can get my glasses on, if my ruling disposition is self-interest, I perceive that everything that happens to me is always for or against my self-interest. If, on the other hand, my ruling disposition is obedience to God, I perceive him to be at work for my perfecting in everything that happens to me. So what's your disposition? What are we thinking about? Are we looking at things from our own self-interest, or are we looking at things through the lens of obedience to God? That really is the question. What's your disposition? I'll be honest with you, in my journey, I think we'd all have to agree too many times I'm thinking more about Mitch than I am about obedience to God. But in the O of restored, in the obedience teaching, I use the definition of obedience as submitting to the authority of. So who am I going to be obedient to? Either God or the enemy. It's really that simple. And if I'm going to change, if I'm going to become everything that I can be, I'm going to be something I've never been before, it's only going to come through my obedience to God. So if we can begin to shift our perspective, change our disposition to looking at any and everything that happens to us in our life through how is God using this to perfect his image in me? What's God teaching me through these moments? That has helped me. You know, I've got a wife, I've got kids, I've got life, I've got issues that arise. And if I'm not careful, if I don't stay on top of things, it's easy to lose perspective, to start thinking from a self-interest standpoint, and I can lose my cool pretty quick on people. But the more I'm able to say, wait a minute, what's God showing me? It's not always about what they're doing. It is always about how I'm going to respond to the situation. I want to respond in kind as God would have me. I want to be obedient to my Father. So a couple of scriptures this morning for us just to think about and consider. One I quote often, Proverbs 3:5, trust in the Lord with all thine heart and lean not unto thine own understanding. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. You've got to be pursuing God with everything that you are, and don't rely on, depend on your own understanding. If we can get this clear in our heads, every thought in my head is suspect. I have an enemy that is constantly at work attempting to get me to obey him. So if I can realize I got to trust in God. I cannot trust and lean on my own understanding, my viewpoints of what's going on. I got to defer to God. I got to interact with God, keep that conversation with my Father going. And then many times in life, it is the trials, the tribulations, the struggles that give us the most difficulty. So Peter addresses that in 1 Peter chapter 1. Verse 6, he says, wherein you greatly rejoice, though now for a season, if need be, you are in heaviness through manifold temptations. Next verse, that the trial of your faith, being much more precious than of gold that perisheth, though it be tried with fire, might be found unto praise and honor and glory at the appearing of Jesus. So James tells us to count it all joy. Peter says it this way, greatly rejoice. Although it's just for a season, you are in heaviness through manifold temptations. This trial, this tribulation is coming your way, but rejoice in it. This trial of your faith is more precious than gold. Do we really believe that? that when I'm under those stressful situations, that's more precious than gold. Why? Because it's working. God is working in us to perfect his image. If I can keep the disposition of obeying God, responding to the circumstances and the events of life with God's perspective, not my own. So those are just my thoughts today. Love this quote, and we'll close with it here in just a minute. Quick little commercial. If you hadn't got your copy, get you one. Restoredcoaching.org or Amazon. You can get your copy there. Also, again, remember, I'm looking for some help out there. If there's 100 of you, thank you, by the way, to those who've already responded and are helping the mission and the vision of Restored Coaching. But I still haven't reached 100. So if you're out there and would like to help at $20, click that donate button at restoredcoaching.org. Set you up a one-time or a recurring donation that will be a blessing. Reach out to me if you'd like to come alongside, and let's do some work together. Keep these things in mind. Don't want to spend much time on that. I'm not here about asking for money, but if I can help you, let me know. And if you'll be willing to support what we do, that would be a tremendous blessing. So one more time, our quote for this morning: if my ruling disposition is self-interest, I perceive that everything that happens to me is always for or against me, my self-interest. If, on the other hand, my ruling disposition is obedience to God, I perceive him to be at work for my perfecting in everything that happens to me. We really need to take hold of this, guys. God is using any and every situation that arises in our life, if we'll let him, to perfect his image in us. He's trying to teach us something. In everything, there's a lesson. There's something to learn. It's all about how we look at it. It's all about our disposition and our perspective. So those are my thoughts for you today. Enjoy your day. We'll see you back tomorrow for another one. Take care. Have a great and awesome day. We love you.